part 2 of our discussion on our favorite denomination of currency, the penny. If you didn't check out part 1, be sure to go back and take a look at it. We went over legalities around pressing coins, and we also checked out the history of the metals used in pennies throughout the years. I also put together an interesting comparison showing the differences between different minted dates of the coins you might be using in the penny machines, and how that date might actually affect the outcome of the pressed design you get. Now, for part 2, we're going to be looking into the future and how things might be changing. First up is a concern I get from a lot of fellow collectors. Are the US pennies going away? Well, let's go over a few things first. Remember in our last video I spoke about how the metals used to make pennies were changed numerous times throughout its history, and in most cases it's always due to the cost of the metals being used. Back in early 2010, the price of the metal used to make pennies increased noticeably and peaked at more than 2 cents for each 1 cent coin. Due to this most recent increase in cost, it had the mint starting to look for alternative metals again, and also sparked a debate of possibly just eliminating the penny altogether. The production cost has continued to increase, and more recently in 2018 cost about 2.06 cents to mint just 1 US cent. And it's estimated the US government could save close to $27 million annually, or $252 million over a 10-year period, if they just removed the penny. So why does the US Mint continue turning out pennies? Well, it seems that it's partly out of sentiment. Most Americans still have an attachment to the coin and want to see it remain in circulation. Which is kind of strange since we are using them less and less to actually buy things and are moving towards newer digital payment methods. In 2012, Canada removed their penny, as have other countries, including Australia, Argentina, Brazil, Costa Rica, Hong Kong, New Zealand, and many more that have already removed their lowest currency coin. So how much more time can go by before the US finally decides it's no longer worth it? Well, in my mind it's really only a matter of time. But as we all know, our government moves pretty slowly at times, and it still may be years before they decide that the penny just isn't worth it and needs to be retired. What does this mean for pressed penny collectors, and what other options might we see in the future? I think the simplest option would be for machines to change over and be preloaded with planchettes or coin blanks. This is similar to how the machines work in Tokyo Disneyland. Most collectors, I'm sure, would prefer to have the copper blanks put in these machines, but unfortunately, as we've discussed in the past, with the higher cost of copper, I have a feeling that most of the vendors are going to prefer to look for a cheaper option. But I also think that regardless of the metal they use for the blank, it's still going to result in an increased cost to use these machines. Not only are you having to pay to use the machine, but now you're also going to have to pay for that coin that's being pressed. We've already started to see this a bit at Walt Disney World, other theme parks, and zoos and aquariums, where they've now started to release those new fancy touchscreen machines. These machines offer a larger selection of designs and also currently supply a zinc penny. We know that these are not the preferred coin type by collectors, but that's an argument for another day. These machines are pretty cool though, and I appreciate the option of being able to use a credit card or digital payment like Apple Pay. But this is also mostly due to the higher cost. This type of machine is usually charging $1 per penny, and you get a bit of a break on the price if you buy the entire set. Even if you want to use cash, it does not accept any coins and would require you to pay the exact amount, as it cannot return any change. I have seen some of the older Ford design hand crank machines being converted to this higher cost as well, but does also supply the penny being elongated. At first I thought these may have been a coin blank, but on a machine I had recently reviewed at the Rainforest Cafe in Disney Springs, I was able to get a close-up of the coin hopper inside the machine, and could see clear as day that they were using shiny new zinc pennies. The only drawback I see to this pertains to the conversation we had back in part 1 about the differences between using those pre-1982 copper coins versus the newer zinc pennies. When machines use the new zinc pennies, that's where we can run into the issue of that thin copper coating getting stretched and tearing, exposing the zinc core beneath it. Now with that said, I've used a lot of these new machines that are preloaded with zinc pennies, and to be honest, I really haven't seen too much of that streaking or tearing going on. The machine can be calibrated differently with different pressures or different distances between the dies. Primarily this is used when you're setting up a machine that would be pressing quarters versus pressing pennies. So I feel like these new converted machines have been adjusted correctly ahead of time to try and ensure a better final product, knowing that only those newer, soft zinc pennies can be used in the machines. In the older machines where the user supplies the coin, there's just no way for the vendor to know exactly what coin everyone's going to be using. So those machines are set up in a very kind of general purpose manner. That way, regardless of whether you're using one of the older copper coins or a newer zinc coin, the final product should be acceptable. But as we've seen in the comparison I did in the last video, there can be a wide range of final products depending on the type of coin you use. And that's just kind of the nature of what happens when you have a machine that can accept a wide variety of coins. Back in May 2013, out in California at Disneyland, they had tested another option with 3 of their coin press machines. Inside the park at the Starcade in Tomorrowland, which was a mixture of a gift shop and classic arcade, the arcade machines required tokens that you could buy at a nearby change machine. Each token was 25 cents and was slightly larger in physical size than a quarter. But the unique thing was that they converted the 3 penny machines in the store to press the tokens instead. Each design required 3 tokens, 2 for the cost of the press, and the third token was the one that would be elongated. This token option didn't stick around too long and were removed only a few months later in August of 2013. I actually liked this option and thought it was a unique way to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, I think I gave you more information about our lowly penny than you probably ever wanted to know. How will our hobby change in the future? Only time will tell. But I really do think that the vendors are already coming up with alternatives and most likely are probably going to be using one of the options we already went over today. Thank you for joining me today. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit and chat with me about pressed pennies. I do hope that you found some of this information helpful for your own collections. On a quick side note before we go, a couple years ago on a video I uploaded, I had posted a comment asking viewers for ideas of future videos. One of the comments I got was asking for something they called Gone But Not Forgotten, which was to kind of document retired pressed coins from Walt Disney World. At the time, I thought this was actually a great idea, but I had so many other videos in the works and so many other plans and vacations going on, I just didn't have enough time. So I have finally found some time, was able to put a couple of these videos together, and I'll be releasing them over the next couple weeks. Once I do, please be sure to leave me a comment, let me know what you think. They were a lot of work. I wanted to include archive footage from the parks of when those machines were actually available. I didn't have a ton of my own personal family videos, although I did use some. The rest I kind of filled in from YouTube and other videos I found online. So it was a lot of fun, but a lot of hard work, but I do hope you enjoy them. Be sure to let me know what you think. With that said, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on those videos when they are released. Be sure to leave me a comment below. Let me know. How do you think pressed penny machines are going to change in the future? Please remember there are absolutely no wrong answers here. I just really love to hear what you guys think about possible changes coming in the near future. I do read all the comments and I respond to as many of them as I can. Thank you as always, and keep on pressing.